Hi guys, it's Ordinary Beauty 07 and I'm coming to you with a very fun but very serious talk as well, because the intention of the video is to definitely guide you toward the things that you have definitely been wanting to do, and giving you an example of what I did, and also just having this video to be a response. It's a response from a young lady that I just watched on YouTube. Her name is Dianna David, and she was talking about her experience just growing up as far as being who she wanted to be and wanting to be different. And I was taken, when I listened to the video, it's like as if she was talking about me, but in a different way. You know, her life, she was talking about how she wanted to be different, and I can definitely recall being in high school wanting to be different. And actually, I can recall being in middle school and wearing, like, it's embarrassing to say, but I remember one time just having like safety pins in my, like, I don't even know how I got them, but I just remember just like linking safety pins, and it was a long strand of safety pins coming down and kind of maybe like stopping at my shoulder on one ear, and I had like a different earring in another ear. And what was really funny, and this is what I remember to this day, one of my classmates, and she probably won't even remember, and she might actually even be watching the video, which is really funny, but I remember stepping out of the class and we were in the hallway, and she was looking at me, and just the look on her face was just like, you are so weird. But I just wanted that different style. I remember wearing different tennis shoes to school, like a red Reebok and a blue Reebok, but the same style, and just wanting to be different, and just thinking to myself, I don't want to blend in with everyone else. So when I listened to Dianna's video, it really made me realize that I'm not so different, and that there are so many other people that feel the same way. They don't want to conform. But anyway, what she was saying in her video was that she actually went to school and she became an engineer. And in the engineer, she was doing, was going to be doing heating and air, electrical engineering in a building, and she had done that for 4 years, and she didn't want that to be her life. And she remembers that she wanted to do something that was out the box, and she ended up seeing at the age of 5, she saw Michael Jackson on a stage, and she remembers him like moonwalking, and she was thinking to herself she can do that, and she remembered the crowd, the applause and attention that he was getting, and she decided that that was something that she wanted to do. And she was talking about how her father did a dance, like a dance, I'm going to say a troupe, but he basically did like a dance, kind of like a school or something that can help them to, he saw that talent in her and wanted to nurture that. And so he did that for them. And from what I can understand, there were other people that was in the dance troupe or the school that he developed. So that was something amazing. She was able to find heritage through dance and different things like that. And so she was also talking about how she just she felt there was something else, and she decided to enroll in clown school. And you know, when I think about that, that's so far from, you know, being an engineer. It's so far, and it's definitely telling that you want to break out from that kind of structure. Like, you want to do something that's a little more amazing, and you're yearning for something that's like incredible that only you can understand. And so I definitely could relate to that. And so when she was saying that, she was saying that she enrolled in the school, and she knew that, you know, like from the circuses, if, you know, like the werewolf man and some of the other characters can branch out and get the attention that they got, and, you know, they're in the circus, but they're, you know, it's something that they like doing, they relate to. She was saying then she can do it too. But the most important thing about the video was she was talking about an exchange student that came in, and that she was kind of awkward, and people would, you know, I guess would laugh at her, but she had an egg, and it was like that was her thing that she carried around, and she used that to be relatable to other people and like teach them, I guess, her talent with the egg. And so that became her I guess her popularity to the people, just being able to give and share her talent. And so what Dianna talks about is finding a red ball, and how she actually saw a street performer performing with one red ball in his hand, and that you have to find your red ball, and that she carries this red ball. She's had this red ball for 10 years, and now she does talks where she talks about her experiences, but she also acts them out. And she had a red ball as she was acting out, and she kind of went through the whole the drama of just acting out her story, which was really cool. And definitely, if you can, I put a link to the video in my description box, so definitely go in and check that out, because I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed the story. But she was talking about finding your red ball and what that red ball is. And for me, I would just quickly share this. I remember when I was branching out from visual merchandising, and I love doing visual merchandising. That's when you take a retail atmosphere or any atmosphere and you stage it to look beautiful, to make it look sellable. You present the merchandise in a way that the customers are going to relate to it, want to purchase it. You tell a story with the merchandise. That's what I did. It's what I went to school for. I definitely enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the fact that I could do something that I was talented in, but also I was following my dream, my heart then. And I remember after that had kind of started to dissipate, I wanted to open a clothing store. And I remember buying everything for the clothing store, and I know what I was going to call it. I knew the concept of it, and I was so excited about it. And I remember also, just my journey into what I'm doing now is owning a fitness studio. Now, my fitness studio started out with just teaching pole dancing. And when you think about pole dancing, and even myself, I was... the way I got into it actually was just like going to a party. Some of my friends had a birthday party and they wanted me to come, and I was very reserved about going to this party because I knew that it involved the pole, and where I live at, when you look at pole dancing, the stigma of it and what I didn't want to relate to, and I just kind of didn't want to. But my husband was the push, and he was saying, you know what, those are your friends, go ahead and support them and go. And so when I got there, I remember my body language and how I felt about it, and I wasn't happy at all. But what was very relatable was walking into that studio and watching this lady, not too much younger than myself, own this studio, and the grace and the beauty that she did on the pole. Like she was a ballerina, like she studied ballet, and that was amazing. What I saw was art. It was fitness. It was athleticism. It was everything that I knew myself to be. I just could not take my eyes off of her. So she really stunned us when we walked in the room. We were expecting something else, and we got something totally different. And so I remember talking to her after, and she was telling me how she had lost 30 pounds doing it. So that was another added bonus for me to go further with doing this. I could do it in my home. I wasn't doing it out anywhere for anyone else, and I was going to purchase a pole, and it's exactly what I did. But I can go on and on about the story because the way it lines up, God literally placed everything in action for how he wanted me to do this. And at the time, I had been seeking him to find out what I really want, how to really do this clothing store. But what was dropped in my spirit was, you're going to do a studio, and it's going to be a pole studio. And I know that's very funny because even I was thinking, oh my God, like a pole studio, how could I actually tell people that this is something that God put me on a path to? But what I found out was God laid the structure. And when I tell you, when he wants you to do something, it's so easy. Everything just fell into place for me. There was nothing that I had to do, that I had to struggle to have done. People were giving me things, bringing things to me. Things were just happening. And did it all happen the way I wanted to happen? No. But it happened just perfectly because definitely God had his hands in it. So everything that I have concerning my studio and the success we have is definitely attributed to God. It's not anything that I'm doing. But what I learned also is that when God has something for you, he'll sustain it. So anyway, let me go back a bit. So anyhow, I remember the looks on certain people's faces when, after I had trained, and I'm self-taught. So I was teaching myself how to do this new art in my room with this pole. And I was definitely seeing my body change, and people were asking me like, pole, especially when I started telling them that, I'm going to open a pole studio. And they were just kind of like the same way I was feeling and thinking, kind of like pole, and so my goal was to get them in the studio to show them what it was, really what we were trying to do and what the benefits of it were. And I remember my mother kind of saying something to me about like, are you sure you want to do pole? Or, and my mother-in-law saying something to me concerning it. And, there were several people that had something to say, and I mean, it was just out of concern for me, and I could definitely, looking back, understand the concern, but see, I knew what was in my heart. I knew what I was driven to do. So all of the things that I had accumulated for my clothing store, I knew I was going to use in my studio when God had it for us. And, that's exactly what happened. He made everything come to play. But here's the funny thing about it. As a child, I was told that I would be pretty much like a minister, and I would be talking to women, and I remember just thinking like, I don't want to do that. I was very reserved. I didn't have a lot of leadership qualities, but I knew I was different, and I didn't know like how in the heck. I was thinking I'm going to have a robe on, I'm being a pulpit, and that wasn't the life I wanted. But little did I know God was setting it up for me to be in an audience, to talk to women, to have a platform. And in the studio, it started off as pole, and then it ended up, we started doing other things, and it's such a long story. But what I can certainly tell you is that so many people came and said, this is your ministry. Like, I remember so many people just coming to me without me saying anything, saying, you've touched my life. This is a ministry. God is definitely here. The spirit and the atmosphere in here is amazing. I remember people just crying, breaking down, and we would have this thing that we do called chair therapy, because it happens so much. And in the middle of class, we would stop and we would just start celebrating that person and letting them know that it's okay to cry. You're not alone. Whereas in, most places, it would be really strange for that to happen. But women have so many issues, and these were things that we were able to be compassionate about, myself, the students. And what's amazing is they all had similar experiences when they came. So it was so natural for them to just go to these women that were hurting, and for us all to say, you know what, it's okay to pay attention, stop the workout, and go into the healing process and helping. And I realized that what God did was he took something that would be kind of, an interesting concept that people would be curious about, and they would come in, or they would have their notions about it, try to work out, and then they would say, whoa, like, this is not what I thought it was. This is, just the things that we've gotten people come in that was literally, and really, this is just so much on a serious note, but several times we've had women come in and say, today I was gonna take my life, and something told me to come in here, and they had never been in the studio before, and they would come in and tell the story. And it was funny because when God wants me to move in the studio, everything stops. I don't care what people think. It's not for me to care. It's something that he wants to show up, and he wants to do something, and these are his people. So I would just stop doing what I'm doing and say, you know what, hey, this is what I'm feeling we should do right now. And every time I did that, it was something that something was going to happen or something. It was just crazy. Sometimes we would have to stop and pray, and it was, absolutely amazing. And to hear, like, I know this thing is so beyond me. And so anyway, I thank God for it, because if I had moved in what I was going to do, a clothing store, he wouldn't have been able to use me, use my life, use my testimonies. And I have so many testimonies, but the things that I've went through have definitely been not for myself. It's been for the ladies that I was gonna come in contact with. And that's what we have to realize sometimes. Know that when you're getting ready to do something, sometimes your red ball, they won't like it. Sometimes you won't get that support. Most of the time you will not get the support. You'll get the, why do you want to do that? Or what makes you think you can do that? And how do you have experience in it? Or, you're going to get naysayers. Everybody that I know who owns something, and I know plenty of business owners. My grandmother is a business owner. I know for a fact, because I do surround myself with people who are definitely business owners, have my community own their own businesses. And so we all have those similar stories. No one's just going to just say, you know what, that's a great idea. You should definitely go for that. I can see it succeeding. They're going to ask you, how's it going to succeed? How are you going to get the money to do it? They're going to ask you all kinds of things. But I will tell you this, you have to follow your heart. Find your red ball. You know what it is. No one has to tell you what you're compassionate about or what you're passionate about. No one has to tell you that. Especially once you get older, you know what you've always felt. It's the feeling down in your gut. That thing that you want to do. You just have to put everything aside, find a way to do it. And even if it is not going to be something you could do full time, you can find a way to do it as a passion, part-time, or just during your spare time, even though you might have a full job. It's definitely doable. You would be shocked. Now, I'll tell you, when I first started, my mind and my thoughts were on making money. That's the bottom line. You know, that's why people get into businesses. And even though I knew it was fun and it was exciting, I like doing it. Of course, that's what you get into it for. But at the end of the day, the experiences, the friendships, the things that I have encountered with each and every person that has walked into my fitness studio, it has been such a blessing. And when women come and cry and tell me that I have changed their life, and it's not a brag on me, what it is me being used by God. And I always give him the glory. And I say, you know what? It's because of him. I can't do this because I can't do it on my own. The only way I can do this is being led and being guided. My main purpose for doing this video is to tell you that I know you have a red ball. There's a red ball. There's a passion inside of you that won't go away. It's like a match, and it won't. You can blow it. You can try to hide it. You can do all kinds of things with it, and it will continue to flicker. It'll come back on, and it's something inside of you that tells you to push. But you are the only one that can push. It's up to you and only you. And if you don't do it, you will never know what it would have been the outcome. Now, what I can tell you is now, I have so many people that come to me and say, how do you do this? What was your inspiration? And, you know, they'll tell me that I motivate them, and they will say, you know, like it's funny because a lot of them will say, you're like our big sister. And we're talking about 60-year-olds. I'm 39 years old. So we're talking about people way older than me saying, you're like our big sister, but like our little sister. I'm definitely a leader now. I wasn't born a leader, but definitely I can get up and talk to people. God definitely takes the foolish things of the world and he can make them huge, but it's so that he gets the glory. Anybody that knew me back in high school or middle school, they can tell you that I wasn't this type of person. Like, I'm a dancer now. I mean, it's amazing. The way I dance even amazes myself. And I wasn't a dancer. And I tell that story in class all the time because I want people to know that when they look at me dance, they're like, I could never tell that you couldn't dance before. But those are things that help build my brand as well. And they just give God the glory. So anyway, without rambling on, my main goal is to get you to find your red ball. Push for your passion. My mother loves what I do now. My mother-in-law was saying, thank God for it. They see the success. They see the lives touched. My husband is a great influencer, and it's amazing how he talks about the lives that are changing, how he can see the women, how when they started the studio and where they've grown, and it's amazing. But anyway, it's not a rant on the studio. What it is the rant on the goals that I have accomplished by finding my red ball and following my dreams. So find your red ball, because I'm sure you know what it is, and push. Don't let anyone tell you can't do anything. And I want you to comment and tell me about your experiences. That means a lot to me. I love to have testimonies as well. They're like fuel to my fire as well. But I'll come on with many more, and I really hope you enjoy this. I enjoy talking about it, and it just helped give me some more inspiration for today. And I am so excited to be sharing this with you guys, and I hope that this story helps you all. Comment below what's your red ball, and I will talk to you later. Peace.